Speaker, very interesting that both the Health Minister and the Junior Whip for the government quoted, as Tracy Martin said, figures on the costs. Now, the Health Minister was wont to tell us that he has all the figures. He's examined this policy, has a complete set of figures, and he knows it all. So what he failed to tell us, and one of those geniuses on the opposite side I'm sure will get up and tell us, is yes, there may be a cost. Whether it's 150 million, we don't know because the Minister didn't provide any verification. But he failed to make any reference to the savings that would occur if many of these folks, elderly folks and others, moved to have their operations in the private sector. And the pressure in monetary terms that would come off the public sector for every one of those surgeries. So I asked the Minister, or the genius that spoke last, what are the savings? What's the Ministry of Health or the spin unit in the National Party and their research unit, or Mr Bishop or both, come up with in terms of that? Because you didn't hear one piece of evidence in respect of that, not one. So I say to the Minister, quite happy to yield to him, what are the savings? He's done the research for this bill, he's noted costs, what are the savings? No, not sorry, what are the savings? Oh, well, there you go. For what? So there's the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health who says he's in command of his portfolio, in utter command, the maestro in political and health terms, the man who's in command of his portfolio, to the point where he comes down, having made a whole lot of figures up, plucked the figures from somewhere, oh yes it is, and then we ask him on the flip side, what's the offset, what are the savings, and what do we get? Oh, sorry, don't know. What? You know, hello, you know, hello, stage 101. The other point I want to make, which Mrs King made reference to, was the immigration side of this bill. I want to make reference to when I was Immigration Minister. And I recall getting a lot of applications, particularly from the UK, sir, from elderly folk who had the sons and daughters had moved here, the family had established themselves, and they wished to come here. And the argument always was, and we actually changed the category to give more weighting to skilled rather than extended family, because we had to do that at the time. Well, the argument was put forward by these migrants, look, we have a UK pension, we're self-sufficient, we have enough means, you know, we don't need the social services, we'll look after ourselves. The difficulty, of course, was if you gave those folks residence, they were automatically entitled to those social services and thereby, you know, were likely to use them. So what I did in some of the appeals to me was have the department go back and say, OK, here's the deal. If you want to come to New Zealand, you probably never get residence, but we will give you a guarantee that you won't be booted out as long as you're of good character. However, you've got to maintain your medical insurance. What do you think about that deal? And to a man and woman, and those that were genuine, took it up, they took it up, they were quite happy to come here with a guarantee that they would maintain their own medical insurance. Quite happy to do it. A win for all. A win for the migrant family who had a lot of skills, and often these migrant families would say, look, if I can't bring mum and dad over here, even though I'm skilled, even though I've got a job, I'm going to go elsewhere to Australia or whatever so that mum and dad can come with me. But we wanted to ensure that there wasn't a burden on the system. And if these folks were genuine, and most of them were, they said they had means, they were very, very happy to ensure that their medical insurance was maintained so that they would not be a burden on the New Zealand health system. Now, Mrs King made a point. This is a gem of an idea. I know many, many elderly constituents, many folks, who, as Mrs King said and Mr Peters, got, you know, throughout their life, and health insurance is an interesting thing, throughout your life, when you're at the top of your earning capacity, but you're at your fittest normally, apart from one or two over there, you know, the premiums are pretty low. The premiums are pretty low. The premiums are pretty low, and you're actually building up, if you like, credit with the health insurance company because you're not claiming. Then your age goes up, your health goes down, your income certainly goes down, normally to a fixed income, but you've built up maybe 20 or 30 years worth of credits in the bank, and they slug you and double the premiums. I say, sir, this is a gem of an idea. It should be looked at. The Minister of Health tonight has bared it all in that he cannot even tell us what the offset savings would be in this. He's made it up. He's plucked a figure out of the spin unit of the National Party to come down and make a political statement, but when his feet are put to the fire and we ask him what are the savings from even one per elderly person taking up the private medical insurance option for their operation, that minister cannot give us a figure. And he's condemned by his own ignorance and his own arrogance, sir, and his own stupidity. We support this to the Select Committee. It should be looked at.
Mr Speaker. I call